We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
When I found out I was going to be a parent, I immediately felt a lot of anxiety and worry. So I went on to BetterHelp to try to look for a therapist to help me with that.
My relationship with my family and with my boyfriend and with myself were suffering. I really needed help.
I was ruminating a lot. Really getting those thoughts out to a therapist and getting feedback was just life-changing.
Discover what BetterHelp Online Therapy can do for you. Visit BetterHelp.com today.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
Hey, warmer brother low. Welcome to lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN family of podcasts. We've got an excellent podcast for you. We're going to be joined in segment number 2 by one of our good friends, Colby Marchio. He does such great work over at Better Day. He does a great job with his Substack, looking at this great game of baseball every day. And we're going to chat with him about what we've all seen here in the first 6 or so weeks of the season. We're also going to be talking about what he's been looking at in terms of player props, what has not been working, what are some of the trends, some of the streaks that he's trying to be able to find in terms of being able to get some value on that front. And then we're going to chat with him a little bit about this big Dodgers versus Braves series as well and how for real the Braves are in the final segment. Good to get you guys picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this baseball Sunday as we touch them all. A Mother's Day Sunday, so happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And if you do have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you have one of two ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at @GUDET_81. Keep in mind, LRZM, they mean does not matter, so as per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way is find an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. And then from there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. While I did not get in any Twitter/X questions today, we had ourselves a fun day of baseball on Saturday. Let's take a look back at it, try to find some trends and try to get to know these teams a little bit better.
Games from yesterday is Greg buzzing about. Here is the rowdy recap.
The Blue Jays offense was able to wake up 14-1 on 20 hits. They take down the LA Angels. Angels, by the way, had 1 run on 10 hits, so that was not great. Trey Savage, not long for this game, but was effective. 4 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts. From there, Mason Flaherty, Braden Fisher, Joe Mantiply, Tyler Rogers, all were able to give you an inning. Rogers gave up a run along the way, and then Tommy Nance scored the same thing to be able to clean it up. Jack Kachanowicz, I thought he might be doing for a little bit of regression, and boy, he did that hit. 7 runs, 6 of which were given up in 4 innings, and then Mitch Ferris, 3 runs allowed in 3 innings, gave up a pair of bombs as it was Ernie Clement getting his second home run of the campaign, and then home run number 4 for the backup catcher, Brandon Valenzuela, who's been doing a nice job filling in there, and then Jesus Sanchez a little bit later on off the position player Adam Frazier, 5th home run of the campaign. Frazier, he gives up 4 runs in his inning, so the Blue Jays, nice big crooked number out there. A nice number here for the Miami Marlins, 8-7. They get the job done against the Washington Nationals. For the Nationals, they were leading throughout much of the early part of this game. They get up 4-0, and then the bullpen hit as Zach Littell, he was working behind an opener. Not awful. 3 runs, 2 of which were earned, given up in 4 innings. He did give up a home run as it was Kyle Starwer's first home run of the campaign as Richard Dickey Lovelady, very solid, 2 shutout innings in his first 2 innings. And then from there, Mitchell Parker gives up a 5-spot in an inning. Jacob Marcy takes him deep, 2nd home run of the season. Xavier Edwards starting to show some power. 4th home run of the season, 2nd in this series. Zach Kent from there, he scoreless inning, and Jansen Junk did live up to his name. 4 runs allowed over the course of 6 innings, taken deep by James Wood. Goodwood for his 11th home run of the campaign. Then Michael Peterson, great name, not so great that he gave up 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning, but Lake Bakar, Andrew Nardi both give you a scoreless inning, and John King gets the final out of the bullpen to be able to polish this one off. The Athletics, they polish off a win. They've got the 3rd best record out there in the American League right now. 6-2, they take down the Baltimore Orioles. The Wizard of Oz, Shane Baz, no sorcery here. 5 runs allowed in 4 2/3 innings, taken deep by Brent Rooker, 5th home run of the season. From there, Andrew Kittredge gives up a run in an inning. You did have Lou Trevino give you 2 1/3 innings scoreless. Cedric ends a scoreless inning, and Aaron Savali continues his resurgent season. 5 shutout innings from there. Hogan Harris, Scott Barlow, Joel Kuhnel, they'll give you a scoreless inning. Mark Leiter Jr. probably should not be on this roster. 2 runs allowed in an inning, but still the Athletics get the job done. And for the Orioles, 10 men left on base in this one. For the Astros, not a lot doing at the plate. The Reds get a win 3-1. They were on to having Chase Burns give another nice start. 1 run allowed over the course of 6 innings. Brandon Shoemake was able to take them deep. 3rd home run the campaign. From there, Brock and Rober, Graham Ashcraft, Pierce Johnson, all in a scoreless inning. And then Spencer Arrighetti, well, he did not upchuck Mom's spaghetti. He had 5 2/3 innings, only 1 earned run. He was hurt by a pair of errors, so he was charged with 3 in total, but only 1 of them was earned. From there, Año de los Santos, Steven Okert, both give you a scoreless inning. Brian Abreu and out of the bullpen scoreless, but not a lot doing for the Astros, who are now 16-24 thus far this season. The Brewers didn't get anything going against Cam Schlittler, but boy, did they get it going against the bullpen. They find a way to pull this one out 4-3 in 10 innings. Schlittler was great. 6 shutout innings, and then from there, Brent Hendrick gives up a solo home run in 1 1/3 innings. Jake Bowers, his 6th home run of the campaign. Camilo Duvall gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning. David Bednar does not poop the Bednar. He gives you a scoreless inning on the bullpen, but then Fernando Cruz, 2 runs, 1 of which was earned, given up in the 10th inning. Tim Hill inherited those runners, was unable to keep them on, as a infield single by Jackson Trio and William Contreras getting a sac fly ends the game, as Kyle Harrison, not amazing in this one. 2 runs allowed over the course of 4 innings, punched out 6, but also walked 4. Bullpen from there shut it down. Chad Patrick, 3 scoreless innings. D. Alternate up Hall, a scoreless inning. Aaron Ashby, he pitches the 9th and 10th inning, gives up an unearned run in the 10th inning, but good enough to get the Brewers the win. The Arizona Diamondbacks hand the Mets yet another loss, 2-1 the final. Merrill Kelly has been awful this year. 1 run allowed over the course of 7 innings. Taylor Clark, Paul Sewald from there, both on its scoreless inning, and Clay Holmes played well enough to win this game. 2 runs allowed over the course of 5 2/3 innings. Austin Warren, 4 outside the bullpen scoreless. Craig Kimbrell, a scoreless inning, but absolutely nobody doing anything at the plate for the Mets. Just 3 total hits in this one. Not a lot doing at the plate for the Seattle Mariners. 6-1, the White Sox are able to get the win, as the White Sox had the Powerball going. Colson Montgomery off of Luis Castillo for his 10th home run of the season. Castillo gives one up to Miguel Vargas, 8th home run of the season. A little bit later on, Mr. Vargas gets his 9th home run of the season. That comes off of Josh Simpson for Castillo. Not what he was looking for here. 4 runs allowed in 4 innings, including a pair of bombs. Simpson gives up that home run in his inning of work. You had a scoreless inning of the young gun Nick Davila. I believe that this was his first appearance with the Seattle Mariners, and then the 7th and 8th innings pitched by Jose Suarez, newly acquired. He gives up 1 run along the way, and Anthony Kay more than okay here. 1 unearned run given up in 5 innings. From there, Grant Taylor, 2 scoreless innings. Brian Hudson was able to give you a scoreless inning along with Tyler Schweitzer. That's a very Wisconsin-sounding name right there. A name that sounds very, very nice. The Kansas City Royals, because they royally got the job done. 5-1. They take down the Detroit Tigers. For Birch Smith, he was the opener. He got 1 out and he gave up a pair of runs, both of which were earned, as Bobby Witt Jr. an inside the Parker home run in this one, his 5th of the campaign. From there, you had Michael Massey get his 3rd home run of the season. That comes off a Ty Madden. He gives up 3 runs over the course of 6 innings, as the bulk guy, Tyler Holton, 1 2/3 innings scoreless, and Michael Wacha was on it. 7 scoreless innings. Matt Strom gives up a run in an inning. Steven Cruz, 8 scoreless innings. So the Royals, they're clawing their way back towards 500, 19-21 now, and a team that's looking to claw their way back to 500, the Walker Texas Rangers. They shut out the Chicago Cubs, this by a count of 6-0. As for the Cubs, not what Edward Cabrera was looking for. 5 runs allowed over the course of 5 innings, including a pair of bombs, as Josh Young, 5th home run in the campaign, and you had a home run number 1 of the season for the young gun and Justin Foscue. From their bullpen was not too bad in holding down the fort, as Jacob Webb give up a run in an inning. Ethan Roberts, 2 scoreless innings, but Jack Leiter Jr. lighted it up. 4 2/3 innings scoreless, did walk 5, so he got himself out of this game early. But from there, you had Cole Winn give you a scoreless inning. Jalen Beeks, 4 outside the bullpen scoreless, and Gavin Collier, he's able to go the 8th and 9th innings scoreless. For the LA Dodgers, they fall to the Atlanta Braves. Blake Snell not sharp in his first start of the season, this by a count of 7-2. As for Snell, he was out after 3 innings in this game. He gives up 5 runs, 4 of which were earned. From there, Jack Dreyer, 4 outside the bullpen scoreless. Edgar Enriquez, he gives you 1 2/3 innings. He allows a run along the way, and then it got to the point where they needed 3 innings out of Paul Gervasi. He gave up 1 run along the way, and for Mr. Spencer Strider, he was able to go 6 shutout innings in this one. From there, Dylan Lee, he was able to provide a scoreless inning. Ronaldo Lopez does give up a pair of runs in the 9th inning, as he was taken deep by Andy Paz Ozunam's 9th home run season, but the Braves, they find a way to persevere, get the job done in that one, and also being able to persevere and get the job done. How about the Philadelphia Phillies? 9-3. They're able to take down the Colorado Rockies. Kyle Freeland, more like Kyle Free runs. 7 runs, 6 of which were earned, give it up in 5 innings. Kyle Schwarber, his 14th Schwarbomb of the season, and Alec Bohm was at a miserable start to the season. He took him deep twice. Home runs number 2 and 3 of the season. From there, Tanner Gordon, 3 innings in longer league, gives up 2 runs. Aaron Nola, not necessarily sharp here either. He goes for 4 2/3 innings. He gives up 3 runs, all of which were earned. Willie Castro took him deep. Second home run of the campaign. Bullpen does their part from there, though. Tanner Banks, a pair of scoreless innings. Tim Meza and out of the bullpen scoreless. Chase Shogert and Orion Kirkering, they were both able to supply a scoreless inning, and it was pretty hitless out there in Cleveland. The Guardians, they fall by a count of 2-1 to the Minnesota Twins. How about 4 total hits in this game? Tanner Bybee pitched well enough to win. He gave up 1 hit in 6 innings. That 1 hit flew over the fence as Byron Buxton, 13th home run of the season. Joe Ryan pitched well enough to win. He gave up 1 run on 2 hits over the course of 6 innings. From there, you had a scoreless inning out of Taylor Rogers. Andrew Morris was able to give you a pair of outs out of the bullpen scoreless. You also had a out of the bullpen from Yandres Gomez and Cody Funderburk as well. But Eric Gorze, 5 outs out of the bullpen scoreless. Luis Garcia, scoreless 11th inning to be able to get that one to the window as the Guardians 1 of 15 with men in scoring position. And the bullpen was good. Hunter Gaddis, Connor Holderman, Eric Sobrowski, all led a scoreless inning. Payne Palante in the 10th and 11th innings. He gives up an earned run as Byron Buxton. He had the RBI double that ended the game. So he drove in all the runs for the Minnesota Twins on this day. And on this day, it was all about the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have to have this up at midnight Pacific, 3 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Currently doing this with them up 13-1 in the 9th inning. We know how this one went, as Landon Roop, he only gave up 1 run over the course of 4 innings, but knocked himself out of the start early with a trio of walks. And then from there, the bullpen, which has been good for the Giants, by the way, completely implodes. Ryan Barucki gives up a run in 2/3 of an inning. Ryan Walker, 2/3 of an inning. He gives up 2 runs. Matt Gage, a pair of outs out of the bullpen scoreless. JT Brubaker, 4 runs, 3 of which were earned in 2/3 of an inning. Gregory Santos, 2 unearned runs, give it up in 1 1/3 innings. And then it goes to the position player, Mr. Christian Goss. He gives up 3 runs over the course of his inning work. For the Pirates, by the way, no home runs. They just went 10 of 22 with men in scoring position. Braxton Ashcraft, anything but a load of Ashcraft. He gives up a home run over the course of 7 innings, as it was home run number 1 of the season, and I believe the Giants' career for Mr. Bryce Eldridge, so congratulations to him. From there, you were able to get a scoreless inning out of Evan Sisk, and then you did have Cam Sanders, as I'm doing this, come on to be able to pitch the 9th inning. And if you're taking a look at trend-wise, what we're getting in Major League Baseball right now, it has been an overwhelming season, 51.4% of games going over the total, 295 overs to 279 unders. I believe that along the way, we have had 17 pushes now as well, but we've been seeing a lot more unders over the last 7 days, and favorites overall for the season hitting at 55.8%, 322 and 255 on the money line. In the last 7 days, favorites are 50 and 38 on the money line, but not really covering the run line. We've seen 12 favorites win outright, but not cover the run line overall for the season. These favorites, you have now seen a grand total of 64 failed to cover the -1.5 run line, and been an underwhelming last 7 days in Major League Baseball. 37 overs to 54 unders, so just a hair below 60% to the under. That's where we're seeing in baseball right now, and that's where we're all getting trend-wise. Coming up next, how about if we do chat it up with our good friend Colby Marchio over at Better Day, right here on the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the Beast and Family Podcast.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the Beast and Family Podcast. It's always great to be joined by this man, as we've got Colby Marchio aboard. He's doing such an excellent job taking a look at this great game of baseball, as I know that he's doing a great job with his Substack. He's doing a great job over at Better Day, day in and day out, taking a look at all that we're getting in this amazing sport. He, much like myself, paying attention to all that we're getting in college basketball as well. And if you're looking for the Substack, that is at the same handle as his Twitter/X feed at Colby M. Betts all together. And Colby, it's always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you for the great intro as always, Greg. I get fired up every single time. Even if I got no energy, It comes out because you do such a great job letting the people know where they can find me. And I always chuckle that it's really easy to find me. I try to make it so easy that if you told a 3-year-old how to find me anywhere, it's Colby M. Betts, except for Instagram, because nothing there is betting related, because I don't really post much there with all my work. But, Greg, baseball, it's here. And it feels like we've been doing it for, I don't know, it feels longer than 2 months, but I hope it doesn't come close to July anytime soon, because it does fly by.
Yep, it certainly does fly by, and we've had ourselves a lot of fun here in the first month and a half or so of the season. Just what have been some of your biggest takeaways from the season that we've gotten thus far? Because I feel like it's been a lot of disappointments thus far this season, and some of those disappointing teams like the Mets, the Phillies, they've looked much more respectable here over the last week or two, but it feels like the disappointments have really been overshadowing a lot of the pleasant surprises this year.
200%. I'm still trying to decipher who's more of a disappointment, the Red Sox, the Mets. It's definitely the Mets based on how much they spend, or like you alluded to, the Phillies. But last year, I mean, I've been saying it for a couple years now. I feel like last year I was definitely like, this is the last chance for the Phillies. And it looks like it. This era of Harper, Schwarber, and the rest of the bunch, it's over with. That window has been closed for probably since they went to the World Series. It's been closed. That was their only opportunity, in my opinion. They're not a good team. The rotation isn't good. The offense picks and chooses when they show up, and it's likely just to be at the bank, which is fine if you're a college basketball team, as you and I would know. It's typical for a college basketball team to be good at home. Duh. That's where they go to class and blah, blah, blah. But no, you got to be good everywhere. And I'm sick of the Phillies. I hate when I like somebody on that lineup, like a Kyle Schwarber, who luckily I had some success Friday night with. But when there's no momentum, it's not fun betting on a player prop when you're like, oh, there's no momentum, so this guy has to carry the entire load with your bases or HR or home run, whatever you have on that one player. It helps when you have those bets, when there's some rally there or some momentum, and then obviously it sucks when that player kills the rally, but they're a disappointment. I'm glad the Reds are finally showing who they are, because I said a month ago during their hot streak that this team is not legit, and obviously, go figure, they're 0-9, I believe the number is at the time of this recording. Since Spirit Airlines passed away, the Reds have collapsed completely. But just to rag on the Phillies one last time, that's a corpse of a team.
Oh, yes, they certainly are an interesting team. The pitching is much better now that Zach Wheeler's in there, but it is an offense that has just went straight down the toilet bowl this year. We'll see if they pick it up a little bit, but thus far it's not been great for them at the plate. Always great for us whenever we have this man aboard, though, as Colby Marchio joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show. And Colby, I know that you've been having a lot of success the last few weeks in terms of taking the home run props, being able to get these total bases as well. And just what have you been looking for over the last few weeks? Because I know that on Saturday you were on Shea Langoliers, and Shea bangs once again, one of my favorite sayings out there in all of baseball. So that's been a lot of fun. But what have been sort of the, shall we say, type of players that you've been looking for these last few weeks that have led you to success?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that home run on Bangaliers. I had the bases, which is typically what I bet on. And I'm glad we're talking today, because I wrote about it either Saturday or Friday, that I'm taking a new approach with my betting on a day-to-day basis. Like last year and years prior, I would shy away from guys who are on hot streaks or massive hit streaks, or they homered the day before. I kind of regret having that ideology over the past couple of years, because it's kind of how I view the pitcher versus history argument. I don't care. I don't look at it. I don't look at the weather. I'm going to try and not look at what the guy's done over the last couple of days, unless I look at some other things, or like how they do on the road, et cetera, et cetera. But if the guy's homered the day before, or if the guy's on a 10-game hit streak, he's seeing the ball very well. What if today, hypothetically, is the best statistical matchup through my process that he's had throughout that entire hot streak? Why would I shy away from the best matchup he's had? Theoretically, what's stopping him from continuing? You could be like, you're basically waiting for the falling knife, blah, 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 blah. But if it's a good price, which I always look for in baseball, I'm not going to bet something if it's a bad price. I have certain guys I don't look at, because I'm like, I know his price is terrible. But if it is, I will look into it. But not shying away from a good matchup when it's 100% a good matchup. And if it was any other day, I would say this play is a go. I'm doing more of that, and it's been all right. I mean, May hasn't been the sexiest month. April was very good to me. It's a roller coaster of a season. It's extremely long. Buckle up. Every month's not going to be good. Hopefully I turn it around at the end of the month, but I'm going to stop being a little baby, a little softy, and just bet guys who are seeing the ball well.
Yep, absolutely. And I do think that is something that is so key this time of year, because I do feel like when it gets into the summer months, when it gets into September, it's a little bit more herky-jerky there. But I know there's going to be a lot of people that talk about regression. How much do you take a look at this time of year rather than a little bit later on? Because I do think that when it comes to this early, we're still trying to figure out these guys, and I don't think that we have a big enough sample size to truly know what, anti-air quotes here, true regression is going to be.
Yeah, 100%. I guess it would probably be how they've done over the years, depending on how old they are. If they're a young buck and they like we know Taj Bradley's not good, but he's also super young. We don't know if he's going to improve over the next couple of years. Same thing with, was it Yuri Perez is 22? We've known him for 9 years now. So it's guys like that where it's like, maybe I'll be a little lenient. Guys like Colin Ray, he's not good. Cubs fans will go to war and tell you he's great. His underlying metrics are putrid, and sometimes some people call them fake stats, Greg, the expected stats. I think they're awesome, because if they are drastically different than what they are, it's kind of telling underlying metric. Say he's great at home, which Cubs fans like to say he's great at home. His expected stuff's pretty terrible. So, I mean, he gives up a ton of hits. I think he's due for regression. Guys like that. I don't know how old Colin Ray is, but he's definitely at least my age, right? He's got to be 30, right?
Yeah, he's way older than 30. I can tell you that. And I remember.
Yeah. So guys like that, like if you know they've been statistically bad over a couple years, don't expect them to have an R.A. Dickey type season, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, I still remember that R.A. Dickey season quite well. And the only real knuckleballer in the big leagues right now is Matt Waldron. And I don't think that you can rely upon Matt Waldron to be the next R.A. Dickey either. As our good
his ERA is 9.
Yeah. I think he got it below 9 with his last start. So our good friend, Mr. Waldron, looking a little bit better. But that's been rough to say the least. And I do want to talk about this specific team, because we've got ourselves a whale of a matchup on Sunday. It's going to be the Dodgers. It's going to be the Braves. And I talk about maybe not looking at regression as an end-all be-all, but Justin Robelski right now is a 1.25 ERA with 3.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. I don't think I'm going out here on a limb to say that if he continues to have 3.8 strikeouts per 9 innings, he's not going to end the season with a 1.25 ERA. But how do you take a look at this sort of a matchup and the Braves as a whole? Because with the Braves, they currently have the best record in all of baseball entering in the weekend, and I don't think they're going away anytime soon, because they've done it without Ronald Acuna Jr. for much of the season. They've done it without Spencer Schwellenbach. Spencer Strider has been a shell of himself, and yet they've still gotten off to this good start, and I feel like they could be the team when it's all said and done that dethrones the Dodgers.
I think we talked about it last time I was on this pod, which I love because I like being right. But the Braves are 100% a team that you can trust. I don't think there's any other good team right now that people are consistently talking about, maybe other than the Yankees. Don't get me started with the Cubs. If you can tell by my tone, that's not a team worth trusting. But we can talk about that after if we want. But the Braves are 100% a team worth pulling up a chair for. I talk about being a Yankee fan all the time on here, but I love watching all the teams. I get enjoyment out of watching the worst of the worst and the best of the best. But watching the Braves right now is very, very fun. And it's not even Matt Olson having a MVP caliber season, Drake Baldwin having a better season statistically than his rookie year of last year, but it's the middle of the pack guys. Dom Smith's doing great. Dubon's doing great. It's guys that step up. I love teams that don't die. Another team that doesn't die but isn't the sexiest team but is fun because of one player, Munetaka Murakami. The White Sox don't die. That team is beyond fun to watch. Down a touchdown, they were still putting up runs. But the Braves, the guys that aren't the studs that are stepping up and making it such a complete team. Since becoming a father, Michael Harris has the dad strength. He looks fantastic. It's just the whole team's coming together. And I don't think it's going to cool off the way maybe people think. I don't know if there's any Braves haters out there at the moment, but I don't see them having a drastic regression spot in the season where we're like, are the Braves okay? No, we'll be doing that with the Phillies. We're doing it right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's wild what we've been seeing thus far this season with the Atlanta Braves. I am very much with you. I think that this is going to be a mainstay. I think they've got a chance to be able to take down the Dodgers this year. And I think that there might be some value on them on Sunday as well. And when it comes to taking a look at a lot of these props, we've been talking about some of the guys that you've been looking to back. What is something that you do look at as an indicator before you fire in on these guys? Because you talk about not avoiding streaks anymore. That's something that you've been doing a little bit more of. But when it comes to some of these guys, who have been some of the guys that you've been looking to a little bit more? Because I mentioned Shea Langoliers, who you were backing on Saturday. I know that you've been taking a look at some of these guys for the White Sox. If I'm not mistaken, you dove in on someone like a Mickey Moniak as well. Just what are some of the characteristics of guys that you've been looking at?
That guy rocks, Greg. That guy rocks. And if people don't know, Mickey Moniak, when he homers, most likely going to hit another one later in the game based on his statistics this season. He's on a 2-home run masterclass this year. Go look at the numbers. But just to plug my Substack again, but I do have a write-up on my Substack. I did it this past Monday, giving everyone a kind of an insight on what I look at on a day-to-day basis, what I use on a day-to-day basis. colbymbets.substack.com. Go check it out. It's like the tools. I forgot the title that I put, but it's a tool, right up the tool guide I think I wrote. And it gives you everything I use. Some of the stuff I use is a paid service, but I think using a paid service is worth it if it makes you money. But I do try to promote all the free stuff that I possibly can because the world we live in is already too expensive. Yes. But batters-box.com has free hitter ratings every single day. I basically start there, see who's elite, who's got a good matchup, the pitcher ratings, who's the worst pitcher on the day, how many elite hitters are they going up against, and then I see the prices on first 5 team totals and go from there. But hitters, it's how well are they doing against pitches, how well are they doing at home or away, against lefties, against righties, and then just make it educated, or not educated, guys, just a gut feel type thing. Are they making hard contact? Is that pitcher not giving up a ton of ground balls? Are they elevating? Is he giving up hard contact as well? Is this guy making hard contact? Is that pitcher giving up a ton of hard contact? Is that pitcher mainly fastballs? If yes, I'm foaming at the mouth regardless of who I'm probably going to bet on, because if you're in the pros, you should be able to hit a fastball. And guys like Kyle Harrison's like a 60% fastball. And I love Aaron Judge tonight. I know people listening to this on Sunday, but just something like that. Aaron Judge plus 120 on the bases, regardless of the matchup. It's a misprice. That's the best right-handed hitter in the game, if not the best right-handed hitter of this generation. And that's just an absolute misprice. Guys like Aaron Judge, when they're plus money on their bases, I think is nearly an automatic play. You're not always going to get the sexiest home run price, but hey, they give up boosts for a reason. Use them wisely, and I think you'll get good value. And finding value is, we use that term all the time when betting, but value in baseball to me is plus money, or if you're looking for a hit, something under minus 170, depending on who it is worth it. Judge today, another example, is minus 180, I believe I saw. That's an insane price, in my opinion. It's Aaron Judge. Should be probably minus 200 every day. Guys like Schwarber, minus 150. That's a go. If you look at these numbers every single day, you'll have a better understanding of what's value. But it takes time. It's a lot. I nerd out over this. Greg does as well. This is why him and I both love college basketball and baseball, because it's all very advanced analytic driven. Hence why we're big Bart Torvik, Haslametrics, KenPom guys as well.
Oh, yes. I always have to give a little bit of a plug to our guy out there in the great state of Wisconsin, Haslametrics. He does a great job over there. So he's nearby you out there in the Midwest. He does a great job. And obviously we get Fangraphs when it comes to baseball as well, all the Sabermetrics, Baseball Savant. So I'm right there with you. It's been a great start to the year for both of us, my friend. I know that you are doing such an incredible job taking a look at all these player props. I know you do quite a bit with regards to team first fives as well. I know that I've talked about it. You're doing a great job with your Substack and so much more. So let the good people at home know what's all on tap for you and how people can follow along on social media and other platforms.
Of course. Always a pleasure being here, Greg. I'm never a no. And if I'm busy, just know I'm very mad that I'm busy. But you can find me anywhere, folks. Colby M. Betts on X, Twitter. It's always Twitter. On Substack as well, Colby M. Betts. It's always free. And if you see the paid part, that's a tip. If you want to give me a tip, that's fine, but it's always going to be free. That is up to you. I try to give out everything for free because that's how it should be. You can't have fun and we can't win together behind a paywall. I do stuff over at Better Day. I write up every Monday there. I have a podcast with Jake Hassan, Off the Board, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12:30 Eastern. I do also write over at batters-box.com. Check it out. Free hitter ratings every single day. And I write my picks up there during the week as well. So tons of free stuff. If you have any questions you want to nerd out, Colby M. Betts, we can nerd out all you want.
Absolutely. And this podcast is a great avenue for being able to do so because Colby is a wealth of knowledge. He does such an excellent job in this great sport of baseball. And every single time he joins me, makes us all a little bit smarter. So a big thanks to Colby for joining me right here on the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Coming next, it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this baseball Sunday as we touch them all.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
Breaking down every game, every day in Major League Baseball. This is the Baseball Betting Show. Here is your host, Greg Peterson.
And we're back here in lovely Las Vegas for the Baseball Betting Show with myself, Greg Peterson, now part of the VSiN Family Podcast. Always great to be joined by Colby Marchio. He does such great work looking at this great game that we all know and love over at Better Day. His Substack at Colby M Bets is incredible, and every single time he joins me, he's incredible. So a big thanks to Colby for joining me in the last segment. Now it is that time of the podcast. I give you picks and analysis on every game on the betting board for this baseball Sunday as we touch them all.
If a game is listed on the betting board, Greg has a side and a total on it, so it is time to touch them all.
Do note that as per usual, any changes that are made to these plays will be listed up on my Twitter/X feed at GUnit_81. We are going to be going in Las Vegas rotation order. This is where we go with the National League games first in time order, then the American League games, and any interleague games. Those are going to be at the bottom. That'll keep things all nice, neat, clean, and easy. Let's get things started. This is 9:51, 9:52 on the card. The Marlins are playing host to the Washington Nationals. Cade Cavalli goes for the Nationals, and Sandy Alcantara is on the bump for Miami. Miami minus 135 to minus 140 favorites, plus 115 to plus 120 is that number on Washington. 8.5 is the total. Under is minus 115, and the over is minus 105. And I do like the under here. I said my total 7.9. Both guys have relatively similar ERAs. For Cade Cavalli, it's right around about a 4.15. For Sandy Alcantara, more in the neighborhood, about a 4.02, 4.03. But I think that both of these guys are going to be able to go out there, give you a nice performance. For Alcantara, he's right now towards the top of the National League in terms of just overall innings pitched. I recognize that he's getting fewer than 7 strikeouts per 9 innings, but does a good job keeping things out in front of him. 0.7 home runs allowed per 9 innings, and you've got a Nationals team that is averaging 5.3 runs per game, but they're also 23rd in batting average against righties. They're doing a lot of their damage against left-handed pitching, so I do think that that's something that needs to be kept in mind here for the Miami Marlins. Not a power hitting team as well. They're in the bottom 5 in terms of home runs out of per at-bat basis. You've had Liam Ixby incredible. He's been hitting 9 home runs, hitting above a 300 with yards average, and you do have plenty of guys being able to move line. Javier Sanja sitting at 275. Otto Lopez is sitting at 353. Xavier Edwards has over a 400 base, so got plenty of guys that are able to get on. Need a bit more out of Jacob Marcy, 10 stolen bases, but is hitting a $178. Owen Casey has went down the toilet bowl a little bit. They're hoping that getting back Christopher Morel along with as well Kyle Stowers helps out with regards to power. And for the Washington Nationals, you've got 2 big-time power bats, James Wood and CJ Abrams. These 2 guys have combined for 19 home runs. Both are giving you over a 380 on base. Who's going to be able to step up around them, though? Dallin Lyle has been able to give you about a 320 on base, and Brady House is up to 5 home runs, but he, along with Luis Garcia, Jacob Young, all hitting in the neighborhood about like a 230, 240. You need a little bit more there. Jose Tena has been able to do a nice job getting on base, but Jover Vivas, after a nice start to the season, he's went downward a little bit. For the Nationals bullpen, it's just not great to say the least. You've had a few mix and match guys that have been able to do a little bit of a better job. Like you've got Brad Lord as a long guy who's giving you about a 355 ERA. Gus Varland, Paxton Schultz, PJ Poulin, all these guys below a 350. But I mean, it's very hit or miss with regards to those guys. And for the Miami Marlins, this is a top 10 team in terms of bullpen area. This is despite the fact that they've had a few guys themselves that have not necessarily had great starts to the season. Calvin Fauché, about a 386 ERA. Anthony Bender is above a 4. These 2 guys were sub 325 last season, but Tyler Phillips has given you an ERA just a hair above a 1. Like Picar's been a nice long guy. John King has given up 1 run since coming over from the Cardinals, so do think they get a lower scoring affair, especially with Cade Cavalli. Even though he's got that 4.15 ERA, he's been able to do a good job with his strikeout stuff. His fielding independent is a full point lower. He's doing a pretty solid job in terms of not allowing the deep ball. He does give up a few walks, but a 310 fielding dependent with those 10.4 strikeouts per 9 innings, 0.3 home runs per 9. So made a total of 7.9, like the under. And for the Marlins, I'm willing to lay the money line. Set them at a minus 158. 953, 954 on the card. The Rockies are going to be on the road facing off against the Phillies. Cadiz for Sanchez is on the bump for the Phils. Tomoyuki Sugano goes for Colorado. Colorado is between a plus 230 to a plus 250 dog. Minus $3 to minus 310 is that number on the Phillies. 8.5 is the total. Under is minus 115. The over is minus 105. And I do like the under here. I did set my total at an 8.2, but I feel like this number has just gone a little bit too far on the Rockies. I was willing to take a plus 230 or better on the money line. Now, I do think that Tomoyuki Sugano is doing for some massive regression. He's not a strikeout guy. Last year with the Orioles, just a hair above 6 strikeouts per 9 innings. Thus far this season, down to 5.4 strikeouts per 9 innings. But he's doing a little bit better job keeping the ball in the yard. 1.5 home runs per 9 innings this year as opposed to 1.9 last season. Doesn't really hurt himself since he's come over from Japan. He's been giving up just 2.2 walks per 9 innings over the last 2 seasons, and Christopher Sanchez just continues to be great for the Phillies. For the Phillies, they've had a lot go wrong this far this season. Sanchez has not been one of those guys. 2.42 ERA, way up with his swing and miss stuff to 11.2 strikeouts per 9 innings, giving up 0.6 home runs per 9, and it's a Rockies team that they always are going to have big home and road splits with their offense just because going to and going from elevation, that's going to throw you off a little bit, but it's a Rockies team that's been more respectable with their offense away from Mickey Moniak, 10 plus home runs. He's hitting above a 300 right now. Troy Johnson, maybe not a ton of power, but he's hitting above a 300. Jake McCarthy, I like that pickup from the Arizona Diamondbacks. He and Edouard Julien both give you above a 350 on base. Kyle Karros doesn't hit for average, but he's still giving you over a 320 on base. Hunter Goodman, 10 plus home runs. So these guys have been respectable, and for the Phillies, they are a bottom 7 team in terms of run creation right now. Trey Turner down for Wood, along with Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott, all hitting below a 235 in the infield. Bohm finally went deep yesterday, so maybe that'll get him online a little bit. I never really liked the pickup of Adolis Garcia. He's hitting like a 240 with not a ton of power. Bryce Harper has been solid along Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber about a 345 on base, 13 home runs. Obviously doesn't hit for average. Harper does a better job of that, 9 home runs. He's giving you over a 370 on base, but other than Brandon Marsh and mix and match guys have not been amazing. And for the Philadelphia Phillies, getting back Yuan Duran certainly helps out this bullpen. Ryan Kerkering coming off the injury list, about a 2 ERA, but likes of Tanner Banks, Jonathan Bolin, Jose Alvarado, they're posting up ERAs well above a 450. Brad Keller has been a little bit shaky this season as well. And on the flip side, Victor Vodnik has not been good for the Colorado Rockies this year after he was good a season ago. But still, you've been able to have a lot of guys in this bullpen come in there, hold down the fort. You've got so many guys like Jaden Nill, Juan Mejia, Jimmy Harrigan, who also applied at sub 4 ERA last season. Now, looks like Harrigan is going to be on the bereavement list. You wish him well, but Antonio Senzatella, sub 2 ERA out of the bullpen this far this season. I certainly did not see that coming. Zach Ognos has struggled a little bit, but I do think that the Rockies, being just a little bit undervalued here, they're a much better team than they were a season ago. So, like the under, so my total at an 8.2 and plus 230 or better. And on that Rockies money line, 955, 956. It's the Pirates on the road against the Giants, as it is Tyler Mahle on the bump for the Giants, and Bubba Chandler goes for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is about a pick'em line here, minus 105 to a minus 110, minus 110 to minus 115. That number on San Francisco totals 8 with the over and the under both at minus 110. And for the Giants, I set them at a minus 103. So essentially, whatever team becomes plus money here is what I'm going to be taking on the money line. Initially, that was the San Francisco Giants. I'd be willing to go up to about a minus 103 here. So I'm going to be waiting to see here. But I do think that when it's all said and done, I think a lot of people are going to fade the Giants, and that will give me that like sort of pick 'em price that I need to be able to take a shot on them on the money line with. But we shall see on that in the AM. For Bubba Chandler, I think that he's got a lot of upside, but he's still a little bit raw. 4.76 ERA, 5.60 fielding dependent. The 6.9 strikeouts per 9 innings are why I had to set the Pirates as the slimmest of slim underdogs, because for the Giants, no doubt about it, it's an offense that's struggling, 10th, second last in the big leagues in terms of run creation. Now, Rafael Devers has hit a pair of home runs over the last week or so that gets him a little bit more online, but man, he and Willie Adames both supplying less than a 275 on base. Both guys are at either 3 or 4 home runs apiece. You just need more out of them right now. You've had Eloy Ramos move line, like he, Jung-Ho Lee, Drew Gilbert in that outfield, all ending between a 259 to a 270 entering into yesterday, but no power at all. Luis Reyes hitting above 300. As we know, he's not going to be a power hitter. He just have not been able to get a lot whatsoever as some of his other guys. And for Casey Schmidt, he's been rock solid for the team this far this season, so you like to see that. He's been able to give the team 6 home runs. And then on the flip side, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, how about Brandon Lowe being able to get loud? He's been able to supply this team with 10 home runs. On base percentage is about a 363. Ryan O'Hearn, I thought, was a nice pickup, 375 on base, functional power there. Brian Reynolds just give you over a 380 on base. O'Neal Cruz, not going to be the world's greatest in terms of getting on base, but he swipes bags, 9 home runs. He's been plenty solid. And you've had Colton Griffin look much better after a shaky first 2 or so weeks of the season. For the Pirates, it's a bullpen that's starting to regress a little bit. You don't mess with the Yohan Ramirez, has been messed with. He's now got an ERA right around about a 4, but some of these mix and match guys like Mason Montgomery, Evan Sisk, sub 3.25 ERAs. Out of those guys, you've been able to get some relatively good innings as well out of Gregory Soto. I don't know how much of a mainstay that's going to be in. For the Giants, they've been leading the National League in terms of bullpen ERA. Caleb Killian has been able to give you a sub 2 ERA. You've had the likes of JT Brubaker, Keaton Wynn as long guys be able to give you a sub 3 ERA. You've also gotten good innings out of Matt Gage as well. And for Tyler Mahle, he last year was really good with the Texas Rangers, sub 2.25 ERA. He was giving up 0.5 home runs per 9 innings. You figured there was going to be regression there. He's posting up an ERA right around about a 5 right now. Last year, he was only getting about 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's in the neighborhood about 8.5 this season, but that's gone up to 4.5 walks per 9 innings, but still, I do think that the Giants, with that bullpen and that pitcher-friendly ballpark, keeps the under. Some might total 7.9, like the under. And for the Giants, I think we should be able to get a rather pick 'em line up to a minus 102 is what I'm willing to lay on the money line. 9:57, 9:58 on the card. It's the Cardinals on the road against the Slam Diego Padres. Walker Buehler is on the bump for the Pods, and Kyle Leahy goes for the Cardinals. Cardinals are an underdog between plus 113 to plus 116. Minus 135 to minus 140 is that number on the Padres with a total of 8.5. Under is minus 120, and the over is even money. Going to be willing to take a shot here on the Padres. I did set them at a minus 154. Now, you'll look at the ERA for Walker Buehler and figure out he just hasn't figured it out once again, but he looks like a different pitcher this year. He's getting about 8.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's his best since he was a all-star in 2021. 3.6 walks, 0.6 home runs per 9 innings. So the 5.64 ERA is misleading. He's got closer to 3.46 fielding independent. And for Kyle Leahy, he was a really good bullpen piece last year for the Cardinals. Has yet to figure it out as a starter. 4.93 ERA, 5.21 fielding independent, 1.6 home runs, 3.4 walks per 9 innings, and really doesn't get a lot of whiffs. About 7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Now the Padres offense, ever since they came back from Mexico City, man, it's been pretty miserable for those guys. So that's an issue. Fernando Tatis Jr. enters into the day yesterday with as many home runs as Greg Peterson. That'd be 0. And I mean, right now, Xander Bogaerts has probably been your best offensive player. He's been giving you darn near 350 on base. He supplied 7 home runs, so hasn't been a waste of money this season, but they're mixing and matching with some like a Sungmin Song, trying to be able to give this team a little bit of a spark. Jackson Merrill, Gavin Sheets, Jake Cronenworth. You just go down the list of guys hitting at 230 or lower with not a lot of power, and really not even giving you a lot of on base. Manny Machado's hitting a $195 right now. On base percentage more around a 300, but only 5 home runs out of him. And on the flip side for the Cardinals, it's been a solid offense. Jordan Walker, 9 bombs at 380 on base. Ivan Herrera's giving you about a 415 on base. Alec Burleson, J.J. Weatherholt, Mason Wynn, all entered into yesterday with between about a 340 to a 350 on base. Still not a stain of Nolan Gorman, and you could use a little bit more on the bottom from the likes of a Victor Scott, Thomas Segisi, but I think these guys have been fine. The Cardinals bullpen, though, is just one that I really don't trust, and now they've been able to figure it out a little bit more as you've got Gordon Gassefo along with Riley O'Brien give you a sub-3 ERA, but Jojo Romero, after a sub-3.25 ERA last season, has been a little bit more shaky. Never have trusted in George Soriano, Ryan Stanek, Matt Savanson. These are guys that are supplying you with an ERA above a 6. And for the Padres last year, number 1 in terms of bullpen ERA, they've fallen a little bit this year because you've had a pair of guys in Jeremiah Strong, Audrey Motohone, now look like themselves, both above an ERA of a 4, but they're starting to figure it out. You get Yuki Matsui, Wandy Peralta back, Jason Adam, Mason Miller. These guys have both been able to supply a sub-2 ERA, so I do think that the Padres are going to be able to go out there, get the job done. I think that Buehler gives you a good start. So on the 8.5, I like the under. I did set my total at an 8.4. And for the Padres, I'm going to lay the money line, set them at a minus 154, 959, 960 on the card. It's the Diamondbacks. They're going to be playing us to the Mets. Eduardo Rodriguez goes for the Diamondbacks, and this is to be determined on the bump for the Mets. This game is off the board. This should be like some sort of David Peterson bulk appearance. We don't know what we're going to be getting in terms of before David Peterson, how long he's going to be going, but with that in mind, I set the Diamondbacks at a minus 149. Willing to lay up to minus 148 on the money line, plus 150 or higher. Looking at the Mets, and made it 8.8 total, so 8.5 or less, and on the over 9 or higher to the under. Now, Eduardo Rodriguez is a big-time regression candidate. He has a really nice ERA of a 2.50, but look at the fielding independent, and the advanced numbers not great. 4.42 fielding independent. He's only given up 0.9 home runs per 9 innings, but 4.3 walks to 6.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. That's a little bit troublesome, but for the Mets, they entered into yesterday 29th out of 30 teams in terms of run creation, and other than Juan Soto, you just have not been able to get a lot out of these guys. He and MJ Melendez are pretty much the only two guys in the starting lineup right now that are hitting above a 245. Like, you're not even getting a lot of on base out of these guys either. Like, those were the lone two guys in the lineup yesterday with above a 322 on base. If you take out Francisco Alvarez with a 322 on base, nobody else outside those three guys with over a 290 on base. Like, my gosh. And they're not getting any power. Like, Tyrone Taylor, Brett Beatty, throwing their Carson Benjay, Mark Vientos, Marcus Semien. Like, my gosh, it's just a big giant waste of money. Boba shit, anyone. Like, man. But that said, on the flip side for the Arizona Diamondbacks, down a little bit with their offense from a season ago. The power numbers have not necessarily been there. Ketel Marte with a 260 on base going into yesterday. That's a little bit rough. They're getting back Lourdes Gurriel. Has yet to hit the deep ball, but he's been able to give this team some just production in terms of move line, getting on base. Eliomar Vargas is great. He's hitting like a 350 with 6 home runs. I don't know where this has come from, but that's been nice. Corbin Carroll give you a 360 on base. Expect a little bit more than 5 home runs. You've had Nolan Arenado turn back the clock, 6 bombs. He's been able to give you about a 270 or so. So, like what these guys are bringing to the table, now you're getting Gabriel Moreno off the injured list, and big thing for the Diamondbacks, this is a bullpen that is not very trustworthy. Paul Sewald, once again, is the guy that's hit or miss in the closer's role. He's got about a 3.55 ERA. Brian Thompson, after a shaky start to the season, though, he's rounded into form. Juan Murillo, Taylor Clark, they've been able to give you a sub-3 ERA, so they've improved much from their season in 2025, where they were not great. Meanwhile, for the Mets, the ancillary guys, Austin Warren, Oscar Brisbane, Brooks Raley, are all give you a sub-3 ERA. Luke Weaver seems to be figuring out a little bit more, but he's been a disappointment this year. Devin Williams, I don't know if he ever finds it again. He's been a bit better over the last week and a half, but over a 5 ERA. Craig Kimbrell has seen innings in high leverage spots. I don't understand what that's all about. And if you do get David Peterson in a little bit more of a bulk role, we'll see what happens in terms of an opener. It could be Austin Warren that throws for like an inning or two in front of him. It's just been a no good, very bad, terrible season. Now, he should be doing for some positivity. 6.29 ERA compared to a 3.25 fielding dependent. He's only given up 2 home runs at 34 and a third innings, but his confidence just seems to be shot. His location has not been great. 3.7 walks per 9 innings. So 8.5 or less, like the over, 9 or higher the under. And with the Diamondbacks, 1-8 to minus 148 on the money line. Need at least plus 150 to take a shot on the Mets. 961, 962 on the card. It's the Braves. They're going to be on the road against the LA Dodgers. Justin Robelski goes for the Dodgers, and Bryce Elder hopes to not be elderly for Atlanta. Atlanta is a underdog here between plus 104 to plus 110. Minus 120 to minus 135 is that number on the Dodgers. 8.5 is the total. Over and under, anywhere between minus 105 to minus 115. And give me the over. I semi-total at 9.6. I really like what I've seen out of Bryce Elder this year. He's looked like a new man as he's right now supplying a 2.02 ERA. I think that there's going to be a little bit of regression here. He's not much of a strikeout artist at 8.3 strikeouts per 9 innings, but it's up from his career numbers. 2.9 walks, 0.6 home runs per 9 innings. So he has been much improved from what we've seen over the last few seasons. I think that he's given up 300 runs or fewer in every single start this far this season. For Justin Robelski, that 1.25 ERA, I think that this is doomed to be going way northward. He is right now getting 3.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Among qualifying pitchers, I'm pretty sure that that's dead sinking last in all of baseball, but he hasn't given up a home run in 36 innings. I don't think that he's going to be able to continue to give up this amount of soft contact for the Atlanta Braves. You've got a lineup that is just very locked and loaded right now. As well, Matt Olson entered in the series with 13 home runs. He's hitting right around about a 300. Drake Baldwin, Ozzie Albies, both hitting above a 295, 17 home runs between the two of them. Michael Harris is hitting above a 300 with 7 home runs. For the Braves, are right now number 2 in the big leagues with about 5.5 runs per game, even with having Ronald Acuna Jr. on the injured list. Jorge Mateo has been dealing with a little bit of ailment, but they've all found a way. Mauricio Dubon is moving line, and for the Dodgers, they're averaging more than a full run less per game at home rather than away from home. I know it sounds ridiculous, but Shohei Ohtani, 6 home runs at a 250 average going into yesterday. You honestly just expect a little bit more there. Max Muncy's been great along with Andy Paz. Both have had between 8 to 9 home runs. Max Muncy above a 375 on base. You've got Paz hitting well above a 300. Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, they're down a little bit with power numbers, but they're still doing a nice job. Move the line, getting on base. Teoscar Hernandez, though, silently has struggled a little bit. And for the Dodgers, this is a bullpen that is in the top 8 in terms of ERA. You've been able to get good production out of the likes of Jack Dreher, Alex Vesia, sub 325 ERAs since the beginning of the 2025 season, but you still have a lot of guys like Brock and Roll Stewart, Edwin Diaz currently on the injury list. So Tanner Scott has looked amazing for this team, and for the Braves, they continue to be a top 4 team in terms of bullpen ERA. Tyler Kinley, since being picked up at the trade deadline last season in Braves uniform, sub 250 ERA. You get back Gracie Iglesias at the closer's role. Robert Suarez has been very rock solid for a few years now. Aaron Bummer, he's been a little bit up and down, but you have to figure that he's going to find it, and Dylan Lee has been very nails for this team with about a 1 ERA. So I do think that the Braves are showing some value here, plus 115 or better. Like them on the money line. I do think that Elder and Robelski experience a lot of regression, so I tell 9.6, so I like the over. 963, 964 on the card. The Athletics are going to be on the road facing off against the Orioles. Chris Bassett has the hook, line, and sinker for the O's, and it is a Luis Severino on the bump for the Athletics. The Athletics are in a rather pick'em game. You're going to be finding them anywhere between minus 106 to a minus 115. Meanwhile, for the Orioles, they're between minus 105 to a minus 110. Total is 9.5. Over is minus 115 to minus 120. The under is between even and minus 105, and I do like the under. I did set my total at an 8.9, and this is another one of those games who whoever becomes plus money, I'm going to be taking a shot on them. I set the A's as a very slim minus 102 favorite, so if we can find some plus money on either of these teams, that's who I'm going to be going with, because Luis Severino has been so much better when he's been away from home rather than at home. You'll look at his numbers ever since he joined this Athletics bunch, and he's been posting up about a 3.170 area with 0.6 home runs per 9 innings allowed away from home. At home, he's posting up well above a 5.50 ERA, so I'm very night and day there. He has had some command issues with 5.2 walks per 9 innings this year, but he's been able to keep the ball in the yard. Meanwhile, for Chris Bassett, 5.91 ERA is not great, 4.8 walks per 9 innings is not great, but better of late. 0-1 runs allowed in 3 out of his last 5 starts. He's giving up 0.8 home runs per 9 innings. It's an Athletics lineup that has not been the same when they've been away from home rather than at home. Bottom 10 team in terms of run creation on the road with about 4 runs per game. Now, Shea Langeliers, Shea has banged for 10 plus home runs. He's hitting above a 300. He has been absolutely masterful for this team, but Brent Rooker has been dealing with injury. He has not been himself this season. Now, 2 home runs over the last, I believe, now 4 days. That should be able to get him going a little bit, but Tyler Soderstrom continuing to give you less than a 300 on base without a lot of power. Lawrence Butler hasn't been able to find it. Getting back Zach Goloff helps him out, as he, along with Jeff McNeil, both hitting above 275, and Carlos Cortez somehow has given you a 400 on base. I don't know where that's come from, but overall, it has been a little bit hit or miss. Nick Kurtz not hitting for a ton of average or power, but a 400 on base. He's drawing a lot of walks, and for the Orioles, just need Gunnar Henderson to get on base. Like, 9 home runs is great, but hitting a 204 with a 264 on base, that's not great. Taylor Ward just 1 home run this season, but you'll take the 425 on base. Ali Rushman down with his power, but a 375 on base, so those guys have been solid. Samuel Basayo, after a rough start to the season, is starting to find it, but you still have a lot of young guys like Tyler O'Neill, Kobe Mayo, Colton Cowser. These guys are hanging below the middle sign of a 200. Dylan Beavers is starting to pick it up, and Leody Taveras, so far so good. We've seen this in the past before, and then he sort of toilet bowls, and both of these teams I would say are average bullpens. Not great, not awful. Likes of Hogan Harris, Scott Barlow, Justin Sterner, Joe Kunal, Jack Perkins for the A's. They're all right around about like a 3 to a 4 ERA. They're not going to wow you, but they're not going to light the game on fire. Mark Leiter Jr., Willie, he's not good, but past that, they're relatively solid. And then Dietrich Hens on the flip side for the Orioles has been a nice long guy, about a 3 ERA. Grant Wolfram is not a guy that I trusted in. Keegan Aiken, along with Andrew Kittredge, they're working their way off the injury list, have been shaky, but Yerner Cano, along with Rico Garcia, sub 225 ERAs. They've got Ryan Elsley on the injury list, but overall, it's a solid bullpen, so set a total of an 8.9, like the under, and again, whatever team becomes plus money, because this is a rather pick 'em line, that's what I'm going with on the money line. 965, 966 on the card. It's the Rays. They're going to be on the road against the Red Sox. We should be getting what we were supposed to on Saturday before that game got rained out. Nick Martinez going for the Tampa Bay Rays. Peyton Dooley is on the bump for the Boston Red Sox, and when this game was ripped off the board, you were getting the Rays at pretty good plus money. I was seeing them right in that neighborhood about like a plus 130 or so, give or take a little bit, and if we can get a plus 124 better on the Rays, I'm going to be liking them to the money line, and anything of an 8.5 or less, I will be in on the over. So if we can get similar numbers, because I was seeing a lot of 8s, maybe a few straight 8.5s out there as well, I'm going to be in on the over, because I do think that Nick Martinez is going to be due in for some regression here. For Martinez, a 171 ERA, pitch into a lot of contact. He's only getting about 6 strikeouts per 9 innings, but I still like what I've seen out of him. He's keeping things out in front of him, 0.6 home runs, 2.1 walks per 9 innings, so he does does a great job in terms of not hurting himself. And for Peyton Tolley, it looks like he's really putting it together. He was really good over at TCU as a college player a few seasons ago. Hefty lefty, I know that he's playing with a heavy heart for his mom on Mother's Day, but that said, he's got a 204 ERA, 245 fielding. I don't know what the story is with his mother, but I know that there was like some heartwarming story or something like that. So I always feel good there. But that said, he's gotten 11.7 strikeouts per 9 innings. Keep in mind, though, he had that 6.16 ERA last season, so you have to have a little bit of caution there. Now, for the Red Sox, it's a pretty solid bullpen. I recognize that Garrett Woodlock above a 3.50 ERA thus far this season, but I think that he's going to round into form. Aroldis Chapman continues to be amazing at the closer spot. You do have Danny Kaluma on the injury list, and Greg Weisert has not been himself. Over a 5 ERA, I do think that he's going to find it a little bit more, and I do think that the Red Sox, who have been a bottom 10 team in terms of run creation, they're going to be able to pick it up just a little bit. They're going to need to get more out of the infield, though. Marcelo Meyer is starting to move the line for the team a little bit, but Caleb Durbin, Trevor Story, they're both hitting below a 225. Carlos Narvaez has really regressed at the catcher spot, barely hitting above a 200, no power whatsoever. Roman Anthony being on the injury list hurts, but Masataka Yoshida does give you about a 400 base. Wilder Abreu is wild out, 300 average, 6 home runs, and Wilson Contreras, it's been a nice pickup. He's been giving you just below 400 base, 8 home runs. You like what you're seeing there, but this is a Rays team that's in the top 10 in terms of run creation away from home. Junior Caminero last year was able to spy this team with 44 home runs, back above a 340 on base. He's up to quite a few bombs. I think that he's up to 10 thus far this season. Jonathan Aranda has been able to spy 7 bombs. He's giving you over a 350 on base. Andy Diaz is giving you a 400 on base. Chandler Simpson, it's for a 300, one of the best base stealers in all baseball. And Cedric Mullins has been about as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop, and yet they're still doing a good job moving the line for the Rays. They've been in the bottom half of the big leagues in terms of bullpen ERA, but getting back Eric Clevenger off the injury list should help. You've got the former Orioles and Cole Sulzer along with Brian Baker, who have really been able to round into form. Both of these guys now give you a sub 325 ERA. So with the Rays plus 124 or better, like the money line, and if we could get a total like we saw yesterday, 8, even up to an 8.5, we'll be in on the over as well. 967, 968 on the card. The Angels are going to be on the road against the Blue Jays. Eric Lauer goes for the Jays, and Jose Soriano is on the bump for the Angels, and the Angels are a favorite here between minus 115 and minus 120. Even money to minus 105 is the number on the Blue Jays. 8 is the total. Over is minus 110 to minus 115. Under is minus 105 to a minus 110. I'm willing to lay it here with the Angels. I set them at a minus 123. Now, it's just really hard to bet the Angels in any form or capacity this year because they've been awful. But hey, you've had a winning record with Jose Soriano on the mound. 174 ERA. Now, you knew that there was going to be a bit of regression here. 343 fielding dependent. Big thing for him has always been the walks. He's got a career 4 walks per 9 innings. That's currently 3.7 walks per 9 innings this season. But also for Jose Soriano, I have no idea how, but you look at his career numbers. Like last year, it was the most demonstrative of them all, but I mean, he has had big-time home and road splits throughout his career to where he's much better on the road. Right now, for his career, 292 road ERA on the road, he's giving up like 0.5 to 0.6 home runs per 9 innings. That's still respectable at home. At home, about 1 home run per 9 innings, but that ERA jumps to a 450 at home. So I don't know why, but he always performs much better when he's away from Los Angeles. Flip side, Eric Lauer has just not been good this far this season. He's right now got a nice RD 603 ERA. Might have to work behind an opener. They've thrown an opener from time or two as well. 2.3 home runs, 4 walks per 9 innings, and it is an Angels team that has actually been relatively solid with their run production away from home. They're a top 8 team, averaging just a hair over 5 runs per game away from home, and you've had Mike Trout be obviously Mike Trout, over a 400 base, 10 plus home runs, so he's been able to do a good job there. Now, Zach Neto has went down the toilet bowl a little bit. 1 home run over the last 3.5 weeks. He's now down to hitting about a 222, and last year this was an all-or-nothing team. It looks like they're back to being that once again. Josh Lowe, Yoan Moncada, along with Rivero, the backup catcher, owing at 200 or lower. That's a little bit of an issue. As well, Peraza's honestly been able to move the line. He's giving you about a 280 average. Vaughn Grisham, he's been a little bit of a disappointment throughout his career, but he's been looking better this year. 350 on base. Nolan Chuno moves the line a little bit. Jorge Soler seems to be drying up a little bit, though. And then on the flip side for the Blue Jays, prior to yesterday, they were getting nothing going on offense, but that was big for them. You've had the backup catchers in for Don't Call His Name, Alejandro Kirk. Brandon Valenzuela actually hit a 250 for 4 home runs. That's not too bad. You'll take that from your backup catcher. Kazuma Okamoto, along with Jesus Sanchez, Dalton Varsho. These are guys hitting between about a 245 to a 250. You've had Varsho be down with his power, but you've had Okamoto give you 9 plus home runs. Flagger Jr. continues to only give you 2 home runs, but he continues to give you that 400 base. Keep in mind, he only had 23 regular season home runs last season. The big trepidation that you've got for the Angels, this bullpen is awful. Bottom around 3 in terms of bullpen ERA. Chase Silseth has honestly been okay in this bullpen. He's been able to give you sub 3 ERA, so yay verily there. But they're getting Kirby Yates off the injury list. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get things figured out. Ryan Zephyrian, Drew Pomeranz, Nick Sandlin, these are all guys giving you well above a 5 ERA. As a matter of fact, all above a 6 ERA. And then on the flip side for the Blue Jays, you've got a big 3 for this team, as you've been able to have Louis Varland along with Braden Fisher and Taylor Rogers all be able to give you a sub 3 ERA. I actually think it's Tyler Rogers. You've got a twin brother situation there. Mason Fluharty, Jeff Hoffman, they've been a little bit rough, but I do think that the Blue Jays are going to be able to get some good bullpen pitching, but don't really trust in Eric Lauer here. I do think that Jose Soriano finds it on the road, so my total is 7.9. I like the 8 to the under, and for the Angels, I'm going to be willing to lay the money line set them at a minus 123. 969, 970 on the card. It is the Twins. They're going to be on the road against the Cleveland Guardians. Gavin Williams is on the bump for the Guardians. Right now, the betting board reads to be determined for the Twins. The initial opener was the Guardians being minus 145 to minus 150, plus 125 to a plus 132. That number on Minnesota, 7.5 the total. Under is minus 115, and the over is minus 105. Those initial openers had to be when they thought Taj Bradley was starting because he hit the injury list, and right now, Fangraphs is projecting Travis Adams as the starter for the Twins, and if you get Adams in some form or capacity, and frankly, whoever they call up, they're all going to be relatively awful. I wish I could call what it is, but the Twins don't really have any sort of good pitching prospects that they're able to call up. Set the Guardians at a minus 186 on the money line, plus 108 or better. Looking at the run line, need at least plus 187 to take a look at the Twins, and then set a total of 7.8, 7.5 or less, in on the over, 8 or higher to the under. We're going to briefly give you the overview on Travis Adams, who has a long reliever last year at the MLB level, 7.49 ERA, and at the minor league level this year, 6.75 ERA. He just has command issues last year at the big league level, 1.6 home runs, 4.5 walks allowed for 9 innings. Hasn't given up a home run this far this season in the minor leagues, but he's also pitched 8 innings, so very small sample size there. He's not going to give you a lot of length. This is most likely going to be a Twins bullpen game, and if this is a Twins bullpen game, well, out of 30 major league bullpens, they are currently checking in based on when you look either 28th or 29th in terms of bullpen ERA. Other than Cody Funderburk, who's giving you a sub 250 ERA, you can't trust in any of these guys. Eric Orze, Justin Topa, Taylor Rogers, Anthony Banda, all these guys have over a 5 ERA. It's deplorable. And then on the flip side of things, you've got a Cleveland Guardians bunch that has had a little bit of a tough time hitting, but all of a sudden Austin Hedges is hitting at 300. I don't know who abducted Austin Hedges and replace him with a catcher that hits, but he's hitting. You've had Brian Rocchio give you about a 350 on base. Same goes for Daniel Sheeman. Now, some of these guys you just see more from. Like, you've got Kyle Manzardo, Steven Kwan, Jose Ramirez, all hitting at 225 or lower. Ramirez still give you a 345 on base, but you just expect a little bit more there. Been a little bit rough going for the former number 1 pick, Travis Bazzana, but got his first home run in the series earlier in the week, and on the flip side, Byron Buxton, 10 home runs over the last 35 days. He's been pretty solid. Brooks Lee is now hitting about a 275. Trevor Larnach, he's been able to give you about a 393 on base. Not going to give you a ton of power, but you'll take that if you're the Twins, because you do have a lot of guys like Josh Bell, Lucas Shaw, Cody Clemens, Matt Wallner, who are all hitting at 240 or lower. And for Cashal, he gives you no power whatsoever, at the very least, with Clemens and Wallner. They both have been able to give you 20 plus home runs over the last season or so. And for the Cleveland Guardians, it's been about a league average team in terms of opening area, but it's rounding into form. Hunter Gaddis began the season on the injured list. He's looking better. Cade Smith had a very shaky start to the season. He's back below 4 ERA. Eric Sobrowski has been rock solid. Tim Aaron, I don't think he's given up a run thus far this season, so with this spot, I do think that Gavin Williams going to be able to go out there, have himself a nice start. I recognize that as well for command with Gavin Williams. That's been a little bit shaky, but he has been a strikeout artist as far this season. Right now, 328 ERA, closer to a 4.15 fielding, depending with 1.5 home runs, 3.8 walks per 9 innings, but also 10.9 strikeouts per 9 innings. So plus 108 or better. Looking at Guardians run line, plus 187 or better. Looking at the Twins money line, then 7.5 or less, like the over, 8 or higher, the under. 971, 972 on the card. It's the Mariners. They're going to be on the road against the White Sox. Davis Martin goes for the White Sox. Logan Gilbert for the Seattle Mariners. Mariners are a favorite here between minus 120 to minus 126, even money to plus 108. That number on Chicago with a total of 7.5. Over is minus 110 to a minus 120. Under is between even and minus 110. And for Seattle, set them at a minus 132 on the money line. I'm going to be willing to lay it with Logan Gilbert. He's done a good job going out there, being rock solid here for the Seattle Mariners. Now, you do want to be mindful that last year he had some pretty demonstrative home and road splits, and I believe that he's better than the 4.30 ERA would indicate. He's been down with his strikeout stuff. Last year, 12 strikeouts per 9 innings, 8.8 strikeouts per 9 innings this year, but he always does a good job in terms of controlling the command, about 2 walks per 9 innings this season. But going to those home and road splits that I was mentioning from a season ago, last year he dominated at home. He was posting up an ERA of a 2.24 and was giving up about 1 home run per 9 innings. He was giving up closer to about 1.7 home runs per 9 innings away from him with a 4.74 ERA. And for Davis Martin, he has put together a really nice season thus far for the Chicago White Sox. He's got a really low 1.64 ERA, 2.45 fielding dependent, 0.4 home runs, 1.6 walks per 9 innings. He's really turned the corner as a pitcher. He's also got a bullpen that you really can't trust him. When Sir Anthony Dominguez is your closer, when you're trusting in Jordan Hicks in high leverage spots, that makes things very difficult. Jordan Leisure is leisurely giving you an ERA above a 5. Honestly, Sean Newcomb has not been awful, but also for this White Sox team, they're a very all-or-nothing team. Like Colson Montgomery, 10 home runs, Montaka Murakami, 15 home runs. They're both hitting about a 235 or so. Murakami is giving you about a 367 on base. Miguel Vargas, another one of those guys, he's hitting a 216 with 7 home runs, but has been able to give you about a 355 on base. They're looking at Jared Kelenic, who he was miserable at the minor league level. It's been a small sample size for him at the big league level, but he's looking a little bit better now, so you like that. But Edgar Quiero, Luan Acuna are both hitting below the Mendoza line of a 200, so it's a team that's not hitting for average. They have been very all or nothing, and for Seattle, this team has been in the bottom 8 in terms of run creation away from home. Julio Rodriguez always gets off to a rough start to the season, but he's back into form. 333 on base, 270 average, not a ton of power, but you'll take that. JP Crawford is hitting just a 210, but closer to 375 on base, but you need more out of Leo Rivas, Rob Revsnyder, Mitch Garver, Cal Raleigh, all hitting below a $185 going to yesterday. Raleigh's been able to give you 7 home runs, but massive funk from a season ago. Randy Arozarena, 366 on base, and for the Seattle Mariners, you've had Andres Munoz provide nearly a 6 ERA this season. Gabe Spire, Matt Brash hitting the injured list is rough, but everyone not named Munoz has been really good in this bullpen. Jose Ferrer has given you a sub-2 ERA. Edward Bazardo has been rock solid, give you a sub-325 ERA. You've had Cooper Criswell give you some nice long relief as well. So like what I see there, I do think that Seattle is going to be able to do a nice job in a lower scoring game. I did set my total here at a 7.8. I do think that's a 7.5, a little bit too low. I think that the Mariners find their way on offense a little bit more away from home. Keep in mind, on the road last year, averaged 5.1 runs per game, so like the over, and I'm willing to lay up to a minus 131 on the Seattle money line. 973, 974 on the card. The Tigers are going to be on the road against the Kansas City Royals. Noah Cameron is on the bump for the Royals. It's a bullpen game for the Detroit Tigers, so this game is off the board. Last time they had this situation pop up, Bryant Herter was pretty much like a 3+ inning bulk guy. I think that you're going to get the same here, and if that is the case, set the Royals on to minus 129. Willing to lay up to minus 128 on the money line, plus 130 or better. Looking at the Tigres, and then set my total 9.1. 9 or less in on the over, 9.5 or higher the under. Have to think that Herter is probably going to give you some sort of bulk here. I don't know if he's going to be able to give you much more than like 3.5 innings, and maybe utilize him here over the last few days, but I mean, he's been rock solid. He's been able to give you a sub-2 ERA, and he's probably the guy that's most equipped to be able to give you a few innings after they had Ty Madden as a little bit of a bulk guy yesterday. And for the Tigers, you do have some nice mix and match pieces in the bullpen. I recognize that you've had some letdowns, especially with Will Vest now being on the injured list. That's a little bit of an issue. Tyler Holden has over a 4 ERA, but Birch Smith, the opener from yesterday, has been a good find for this team. They've got Brandon Hendefy back. Now, I don't trust in Kenley Jansen at the closer spot, but Kyle Finnegan, since they trade for him, sub-250 ERA in a Tigers uniform. They are dealing with a few injuries. Javi Baez, Gleyber Torres being on the injured list. That does hamper this offense a little bit. Keep in mind the fences have been moved in. So the Royals are right now averaging 2.9 runs per game away from home, over 5 runs per game at home. That shows you just what sort of a hitter's haven this has been this far this season. But you still have Riley Green, Cole Keith, both hitting above a 300. Power numbers haven't necessarily been there for either guy, but they've been able to move line. Kevin McGonigal is giving you about a 390 on base. Gary Carpenter is up to 6 home runs, but he's been giving you less than a 300 on base. Spencer Torkelson hitting just a 200, but he's now up to 6 home runs after he was not providing a lot of power to begin the season. Flip side for the Kansas City Royals, Bobby Witt Jr. now 5 home runs over the last 3 weeks after a rough start to the season with the deep ball. He's still giving you that consistent 375 on base. Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino need to pick it up. Both guys are hitting below the middle side of 200. Both have 5 home runs apiece. You just need more there, but Kyle Isbell has been able to about a 280. You've had Isaac Collins be able to move line, give you over 350 on base. Jack Caglione, he's not amazing yet, but he's been better than he was a season ago, hitting like a 245. Miguel Garcia could be a table setter, and for the Royals, this is a bottom 10 team in terms of opening rate. I believe that they had to send Alex Lang all the way down to the minor leagues. He might be back up with the team, but he's been posting up over a 6 ERA. John Schreiber has had a little bit of an up and down season, but he's back below a 4 ERA. Matt Strom is starting to find it. Daniel Lynch is a nice long guy. So with the Royals, I do think think that they're going to be able to do a nice job in terms of supporting a guy in Noah Cameron that I thought there was going to be a regression this season. You look at what he did last season, and it was very clearly not sustainable. 5.40 ERA, but a 4.46 fielding dependent, 1.4 home runs, 3.1 walks per 9 innings. I think that he sees a little bit of positivity here. So 9 or less like the over, 9.5 or higher the under, 1 to lay up to minus 120 with Royals, plus 130 or better looking at the Tigers. 9.75, 9.76 on the card. It's the Reds. Yes, we're on to Cincinnati. They're playing against the Astros. Right now, it's Andrew Abbott going for the Reds, and it's old to be determined on the bump for the Astros. So this game is off the board. This is probably going to be like a Colby Bolton start / long appearance. So also probably like a little bit of bullpen madness game here for the Astros. And I set the Reds at a minus 141, willing to lay up to minus 140 there, plus 142 or better. Looking at the Astros, and I set a total 9.7, 9.5 or less, like the over, a 10 or higher to the under. I wish I could set the Reds as a bigger favorite, but Andrew Abbott has not been good this year. 5.13 ERA with a 4.77 fielding dependent, 6.2 strikeouts, a 4.2 walks per 9 innings. He's just really not doing anything great other than giving up about 1.1 home runs per 9 innings, so he's keeping the ball in the yard. Astros have been a top 10 team in terms of run creation. Struggling now that Carlos Correa is currently out of the fold, and obviously it's looking like Jose Altuve is getting a little bit long in the tooth, down to about a 330 on base, but still, Yordan Alvarez, 10 plus home runs. He's been able to supply you with well over a 400 on base. Christian Walker, 8 plus home runs, 360 on base. Isaac Paredes, down with the power, but he, along with Brandon Schwamake, hopefully I got that correct, both give you about a 350 on base. Might be Shoemake, but that said, with the Reds, you got a lot of guys that just aren't supporting the main guys. Ellie De La Cruz, Cousin Sal Stewart, both of these guys, 329 to a 345 on base, a combined 19 home runs between the two of them. But then you've got TJ Friedel, Jose Trevino, Brian Hayes, Matt McClain. All these guys are in at 215 or lower, and it really wrecks the seam now. Nathaniel Lowe has really stepped it up. 6 home runs. He's been able to get about a 260, give you a solid on base. JJ Bleedays give you a little bit of sign of life, but you need it with Eugenio Suarez currently on the shelf. For the Reds, first 4 weeks of the season, this team was numero uno in terms of bullpen area. Things have went down the toilet bowl a little bit. Pierce Johnson is outspying the team with about a 3.38 ERA, so he's been able to work on that a little bit. Brock and Rolberg right in that neighborhood as well. I like what I'm seeing out of Graham Ashcraft, and honestly, Emilio Pagan going on the injury list, I think it's a good thing. I do not trust that guy late in games, and you just can't trust in this Houston Astros bullpen, and you're going to be getting a lot of it. I mean, you could be seeing Kaiway Tang for a few innings, and he's honestly been able to give you a sub-3 ERA, but the likes of Angel De Los Santos, Brian Abreu, AJ Bluba, Bennett Sosa, all these guys are giving you over a 4.50 ERA. Steven Okert is up to about a 4.32, so he's been a little bit better, but I mean, this bullpen is terrible. Out of 30 teams, they are 30th in terms of bullpen ERA, so do you think that the Reds going to be able to connect for some good offense here? And if you do get Cody Bolton as, like I said, like a 3 innings or like an opener plus or something like that, he's right now got a 4.63 ERA. They've started him a few times this season. Just has no command whatsoever. 7 walks per 9 innings. So minus 140 or better. Looking at the Reds, plus 142 or better. The Astros, 9.5 or less, like the over. 10 or higher, the under. 9.77, 9.78 on the card. The Yankees are on the road against the Brewers. Logan Henderson goes for the Crew, and Carlos Rodon is on the bump for the Yankees, and the Yankees do find themselves between minus 122 to a minus 130, plus 104 to a plus 110 is that number on the Brew Crew. 8 is the total. Over is minus 110 to a minus 115. Under is minus 105 to a minus 110. Take the Brewers on the money line. Set them at a minus 103 for Carlos Rodon. He made 3 minor league rehab starts, and he didn't have the world's worst ERA in them, like a 337, 338, but he was giving up 1.7 home runs per 9 innings. Since he just started his time with the New York Yankees, he's had a lot of struggles early on during the season. Like last year was his best year as a Yankee. 309 ERA, 378 fielding dependent, was only giving up about 1 home run per 9 innings, but still have to be very cautious of him coming off the injury list. And for Logan Henderson, I feel like he's just pitched much better than what the raw ERA would indicate. 4.50 ERA, but a 0.76 fielding independent. He's always been very good at the minor league level. He's now starting to finally get a chance here at the big league level after he got a few starts last season, as well as yet to give up a home run at the big league level. He's only given up 1 walk in his 8 innings. I like what I'm seeing there, and even last year in his small sample size, he was getting 11.7 strikeouts while giving up 1.1 home runs per 9 innings. I do think that he's another one of these Brewers pitchers that is a real deal, and for the Brewers, this has been about a league average team in terms of bullpen ERA. They had Trevor McGill, Abner Uribe be a little bit shaky after they supplied sub 3.25 ERAs last season, but those guys are getting back online. You've got DL Hall, Brian Fitzpatrick, Aaron Ashby. These guys give you a sub 350 for Grant Anderson. He's a nice long guy with about a 3.18 ERA, so like what these guys bring to the table. And They do have to face off against a Yankees team that's currently in the top 6 in terms of run creation. Ben Rice was dealing with a little bit of ailment. He's back over a 400 on base, 9+ home runs out of him. Aaron Judge, 15+ bombs. He's giving you a 400 on base as well. But the infield continues to be rough. You've had Paul Goldschmidt get a pair of home runs over the last week or so, but Ryan McMahon, Jazz Chisholm, the entire catcher spot, hitting at 220 or lower with not a ton of power. That's been a little bit of an issue. Flip side for the Brewers, reinforcements have come in. Jackson Trio, very, very, very small sample size, but he's hitting like a 400. So, yay, verily there. You get back Andrew Vaughn, who's already got a home run since coming off the injury list, and then you put Brandon Lockridge on the injury list. He gets a little bit injured, but now you've got Garrett Mitchell, who's able to give you about a 355 on base. Tyler Black, in a small sample size, is able to give you over 350 on base. Jake Bauer, 340 on base, 5 home runs. Gary Sanchez is actually giving you something. William Contreras, 360 on base. For the Brewers, they're a bottom 3 team in terms of home runs on a per at-bat basis, but they just continue to find a way to move the line, get on base. Bryce Terang, Sal Frelick, they're able to steal some bags. So I think that the Brewers get to Carlos Rodon here, get him out of this start early. Now it's a Yankees team that is in the top 8 in terms of bullpen here. I recognize that Camilo Duvall has been absolutely awful for this team, but you've got the likes of Brent Hendrick, Fernando Cruz, Tim Hill, David Bednar, who since the beginning of last season have all given you a sub 350 ERA in a Yankees uniform. So it's at a total of an 8.7. Think that the Brewers get to Rodon, like the over, and with the Brewers, any sort of plus money, I'm in on the money line. Wrap things up with 979, 980 on the card. The Cubs are on the road against the Rangers. Jacob deGrom is on the bump for the Rangers. Jameson Taillon goes for the Cubs, and Cubs are an underdog between plus 104 to plus 110, minus 125 to minus 130. That number on the Walker Texas Rangers. 7.5 to 8 is the total. On the 7.5, over is minus 115 to minus 120. The under is between even to minus 105. On the 8, over and under anywhere between minus 105 to a minus 115. Set a total of 7.7. Personally, I'd rather have the 8 under rather than the 7.5 to the over because of ballpark factors. For the Rangers, this is actually a respectable team in terms of hitting away from home with about 4.5 runs per game away from home. 2.56 runs per game at home entering into yesterday. Like, this ballpark is killing offense. Like, my gosh. It is absolutely ridiculous what we're seeing out there. And for the Rangers, you really don't have a lot of power hitters. You have a few guys that are moving the line for this team, like Brandon Nimmo, Ezekiel Duran, Josh Young, all guys that are hitting above a 275 right now. Heck, you've been able to get a little bit of something out. Don't call his name Alejandro Ozuna, who's giving you over 400 on base. Also have a lot of turds on this team. The entire catcher spot, Jock Peterson, they're all hitting below a 225. And I mean, for Corey Seager along Jake Berger, they've been your main home run hitters with like 6 home runs apiece. Berger is right now dealing with a little bit of an injury, and Seager is hitting a 201 this season. So that's not great. You've got a Cubs team that is actually number 1 in the big leagues in terms of run creation. Michael Conforto from out of nowhere has looked amazing thus far this season. Alex Bregman off to his classic slow start. He, Ian App, Seiya Suzuki, Michael Busch, they're all hitting like a 235 to a 240, but this is one of the best teams in terms of drawing walks. Like App as a 380 on base, he's been able to give you 8+ home runs. Suzuki, 7+ bombs, 400 on base. Busch, still give you 350 on base. Power's been a little bit down. The entire catcher spot, Carson Kelly, Miguel Amaya, Moises Ballesteros are all giving you at least a 350 on base. Nico Horner's up with his power a little bit, but you do have to be a little bit fearful of the fact that Jameson Taillon, I think that he's doing for some regression here. You take a look at the raw ERA. It's not like it's amazing. It's not like it's awful. 4.24 ERA, but 6.01 fielding dependent. 2.5 home runs and 3.1 walks per 9 innings while getting about 8 strikeouts per 9 innings. And for Jacob deGrom, he's given up the deep ball a little bit as well, over 1.3 home runs allowed per 9 innings, but 1.2 strikeouts, 1.9 walks per 9 innings, 3.11 ERA, and he's backed up by a bullpen that has been absolutely incredible this year. The Rangers entered in the day yesterday, numero uno in terms of bullpen ERA. I love the pickup of Jacob Junis, who had a sub-3 ERA last season with the Cleveland Guardians. Cole Winn had a sub-2 ERA last season, and he hasn't been himself. You've got Robert Garcia, Chris Martin on the injured list, but you've had Jalen Beeks, Tyler Alexander as long guys hold down the fort, and Jacob Latz is giving you like a 1 ERA. He's been incredible, and for the Cubs, it's just been attrition in this bullpen at this point. Riley Martin, Hunter Harvey, Caleb Theobar, Porter Hodge, all guys that they've had to put on the injured list. Jacob Webb has been solid with a sub-3 ERA. They're getting back Daniel Palencia now. He has yet to give up a run this season, albeit in a very small sample size. Phil Matone is a guy that you don't trust, and he has been absolutely terrible for this team. And Hobie Milner does look a little bit long in the tooth, but hasn't been too bad thus far this season. But I do think that the Rangers are going to be able to get to Taillon, and I do think that this ballpark are really going to suppress some offense. So, like the 8 under, and well, the Rangers have them at minus 153, like them on the money line, and that'll wrap things up for the Sunday edition of the Baseball Betting Show, now part of the VSiN family of podcasts. Big thanks to Colby Marchio of Bettor for joining me in the last segment. If you do like hearing from this fine podcast, Baseball Betting Show, you're able to subscribe wherever your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn. If you have a question, comment, segment idea, what have you for this podcast, you do have one of two ways we offer those in. First one is my Twitter/X timeline at @GUnit_D1. Keep in mind, letters and name does not matter, so per usual, please do send these into the timeline. And the other way is via an Apple Podcast review. If you rate this podcast 5 stars, it's very much appreciated. From there, you're able to fire in whatever you'd like to hear on this podcast via that 5-star review. I'm coming at you guys every single day with picks and analysis on every game every day, so I'll be back with you once again tomorrow. Thank you.
We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.